Hi, everyone. I'm Joel, compulsive eater, weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet, committed to my sponsor. Abstinence is the most important thing I do on a daily basis. And I do it with your help, and I do it with the help of the people in this program. Usually before I qualify at a meeting, of course, I'm always thinking and writing down notes, and I haven't done it this time. So who knows what I'm going to say. But I guess what I'm going to say is that I'm a compulsive eater, and I've been a compulsive eater for as long as I have memories. I was just going to reach over and see if I had a picture of myself as a little guy. I was a chubby little guy. I grew up in a restaurant also, which probably didn't help things, but it didn't cause it. I'm a compulsive eater. I'm a person who somehow, with starches and sugar, I'm able to some degree, regulate my mood. To me, it is like a drug. And because of my personality, I guess, and DNA, I tend to use that drug-like effect in an addictive way. And by that, I mean, whatever effect I have today, I need a stronger effect tomorrow, and the next day even stronger. And it builds on itself so that the only thing that is then in my consciousness is either how to get more of that drug or how to not have the drug. That for me is the disease that I've been struggling with all of my life, until I found a Gray Sheet. And it's not that Gray Sheet ended the struggle, but it gave me a way of managing the struggle so that it was not the only thing in my life, which what happens when I am in my addiction. It is the only thing. So, for example, shortly before I came to Gray Sheet, before I found a Gray Sheet meeting, the first time, my day would be kind of like the following. I'd get up, put the dogs in the car, drive to the local bakery, get something, drive to the park. Take the dogs out for the walk meant driving to the park, opening the door so the dogs could run out while I sat in the car and ate what I had gotten at the bakery. And then I would call them back. They would get back in the car. I would drive back to the bakery, get my breakfast, then drive home, eat my breakfast. Then on the way to work, I would stop and get some kind of bag of stuff and eat that before I walked into work. I'd go to work for an hour or so, go out and get a snack, come back, eat the snack, then go to lunch, then repeat that until work was done, taking 1 or 2 breaks. Then when I got home, having a large dinner, and then before I would fall asleep, I would consume 1 or more containers of some kind of frozen stuff. And that was my day. With, of course, the mental anguish and the mental insanity of, why am I doing this? I don't want to do this. I'm sick to my stomach. I can't eat anymore. and then going to the store and eating more. And that was my day. And my at that time wife had a friend who recommended, who said something about, well, this is an addiction, and it's like alcohol, and you should treat it that way. And have I ever heard of Overeaters Anonymous? And I never had. I had, of course, done lots of different, tried lots of different ways to control my weight. When I was in between the 5th and 6th grade, I was prescribed amphetamines by my doctor, and that worked. And I've had success with these diets, but the issue is not weight, right? The issue is food. And so the diets worked to reduce my weight. And then once they were over, my weight went back, and then more some. So Overeaters Anonymous was recommended, and there was a meeting in Brookline on Thursday night. And I went to that meeting, and I have this recollection that the door was locked, but somebody there said, well, you know what? You really don't want to be at this meeting. You want to go to a meeting in Cambridge on Saturday morning. And at the time I thought, wow, that's great. Okay, I'll go do that. And that means I get to binge on my way home, and I get to binge on Friday, and then I'll go and see what happens on Saturday. So Saturday morning, I walk into the basement of a church in outside Cambridge, Cambridge Square, Community Gardens on Garden Street. And I grew up in a Jewish home. I grew up in a very political home, and a very I would say anti-religious home. And for me to find myself in the basement of a church on a Saturday morning, listening to people just say these things that I had no idea what they were saying about, don't eat no matter what. How can you not eat no matter what? And power greater than ourselves, and all this language, which was totally foreign to me. But also hearing them talk about food the way I was experiencing food, but talking about it without the insanity, without the back talk, without the debate society. It was a very clean, consistent, calm message. We have an addiction. That addiction can be treated by eating the foods on this sheet in weighed and measured amounts, no matter what, leaving the decisions up to a higher power, and working the steps. And I thought, okay, well, I'll give this a try. And I don't think I got a sponsor at that meeting. I then went to a men's meeting at Mount Auburn Hospital on the following Tuesday and got a sponsor. And it changed my life. I was very involved in the Cambridge community for quite some time, and then got a job, moved to Connecticut, drifted away from the program. We know what happens when we drift away from the program. I picked up, and I remember the first time my daughter saw me eat one of those things between two slices, she gasped because she had never seen me eat that stuff. And I should have realized that this very bad thing that I was doing, but I didn't. And So I was out there for, I really don't know how long. I just know it was, I don't know, 2 years or something. I know it was over 100 pounds.
Joel 10.
Thank you, Janice. I know it was 100 pounds, but I don't know the exact duration. But somehow out of desperation, I called my old sponsor. My old sponsor said, "Get your ass to a meeting." The next day, I went to New York, went to a meeting at St. Bart's, got a sponsor, got abstinent, and I say my abstinence date is the 31st of October, 1995. To be honest with you, I don't know the exact date. My sponsor at the time said, look, it was a couple of weeks ago, let's just call it that. And so that's my date. And since then, I've had the opportunity of weighing and measuring 3 meals a day off the gray sheet, committing it to my sponsor, and that's what I eat. And it becomes very simple when you do it for enough time. All of the habits that we have that lead us to food get replaced by new habits of going down different aisles, of eating in a certain way, of not getting up and walking to the refrigerator, rather going out and walking outside, just finding new ways to live our lives that don't bring us to the food, but give us a little distance from the food. Working with our higher power, be that God, be it our sponsor, be it our scale. All of these things are higher power to me, which with you all help me weigh and measure my food 3 times a day. And for me, it's really as simple as that. It's not about a diet. It's not about tracking my food in some app that tells me how many grams of sodium I'm eating. The only thing that it is for me is just following this gray sheet. And as long as I eat the foods that are on the gray sheet in the weighed and measured quantities that my sponsor tells me, I'm okay. To the degree that I'm having a baked fruit in the morning, this kind of red fruit, and I have just been obsessing about finding the biggest the biggest red fruit. And the other day I had one of those red fruits and it wasn't the biggest one. And it didn't matter. I was shocked. I finished my breakfast and said, that wasn't the biggest one, but that was really fine. What and and so after I don't know how many years it's been, but a day at a time, as I say, the habits and the addictive thoughts just slowly, slowly, slowly get replaced by sometimes we call it sunlight of the spirit, that just helps us remain abstinent a day at a time. And with that, I'll pass.